Hello again, everybody. This is Rocketrickj18, and today I'm going to talk to you about just some various musings on a couple of topics, and then I'm going to show you some new cards that I've acquired here in the last few weeks, couple of weeks, I guess. As far as obviously the big news for baseball is the new season. The 2024 season is underway. And this may be the last time I have the opportunity to say this, but the Pittsburgh Pirates are undefeated and in first place. And I'm not sure I could name more than 2 or 3 players on the team, even after having watched significant portions of the first 2 games. They were exciting to watch. They made some mistakes. But they were mistakes of enthusiasm and effort, not mistakes of lack of care or lack of paying attention. And my other favorite team, the New York Yankees, is likewise undefeated and in first place after having been picked by many to finish in last place in the American League East. So, it's a long season, and, those of you who are statistically inclined know what regression to the mean involves, and if it may be that they don't finish up either undefeated, which they won't, or in first place, which they probably won't. But hope springs eternal, and that's what the new season's all about. The next thing I want to mention is in 3 weeks, the Strongsville show at Strongsville, Ohio, right outside of Cleveland, will be taking place. And hopefully everybody who's indicated that they're going from this YouTube community will be able to be there. And maybe a few that weren't sure whether or not they could be there. So looking forward to seeing you. I will be there if at all possible. And you always have to allow for, unusual things to happen. As I like to say, I've said several times, not on this YouTube venue, but I'll just mention I had a birthday a couple of weeks back. And for my birthday, I got an unusual present, and that was a kidney stone. So I spent the first 6 hours or so of my birthday, anniversary of my birthday, I should hasten to add, in the emergency room. So that was a lot of fun, but it all worked out. So everything's fine. So anyway, Strongsville, looking forward to it an awful lot. I'm gonna room with Orlando, A Collector's Dream. At least that's our plan. And my first duty is going to be to pick him up from the airport because he's flying in. Obviously, he's not driving from Miami. And so I told him I would do that, and look forward to that. I bought my ticket. I was thinking about not buying it, just buying it at the door, but I'm too much of a type A personality, I guess. I don't know what the right term is, but I just can't have something hanging over my head, even if it's something as simple as buying a ticket. So I got my ticket. A couple other things I wanted to quickly mention. I'm not going to dwell on either one of these, but on a more serious note, in both cases, First, I was, like most of you, I suppose, shocked and dismayed by the news about Shohei Ohtani and his interpreter. And if you don't know the story, the Dodgers announced that they had fired the interpreter because he had, I don't know whether they said it, but as it turned out, apparently he's alleged to have embezzled money from Shohei, and that it went to pay gambling debts. Now, gambling is still a pretty serious matter. We have two absolutely surefire Hall of Famers, no doubters, who are not in the Hall of Fame because they either admitted to gambling or admitted to, taking some money under from gamblers. In any case, Joe Jackson, not in the Hall of Fame, certainly should be by any measure of looking at his numbers. And of course, the all-time hit leader, not in the Hall of Fame, along with the all-time home run leader, not in the Hall of Fame, but for different reasons. And so Pete Rose, if he wants to get in the Hall of Fame, he's got to buy a ticket. And I think that there's a lot of other players that may be like that. I hope Shohei Ohtani is not one of them, but that's a dark cloud that's out there. And the other one that I wanted to mention is just the subject has arisen in a couple of videos of my good friends, and I don't know whether I've gotten one or not, but maybe I have and just don't recognize it as such. Negative comments. Obviously, as the saying goes, haters gonna hate. And if somebody who is, for whatever reason, gets a burr under their saddle about something, but really, this is fun. I do this for fun. I don't make a living at it. I don't do it to sell cards. I don't do it to, raise money. I don't do it for any reason other than personal satisfaction. And I do like it. I do enjoy talking with people. I do enjoy getting together, on the few opportunities that I've had to do that. And that's one of the reasons why I'm really looking forward to Strongsville. So if you have been, well, then maybe I'll use the word victimized by negative commenters on a YouTube video that you've done, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I think it's, I don't know what motivates people to post negative comments about somebody else's opinion. I'm more of the school that if you can't say something nice, just don't say anything at all, or don't say anything on YouTube or in an email or in any other venue that you would be embarrassed to have your mom know that you had written such a thing. So that's it. I'm not going to dwell on them, but there you have it. So let's look at some cards. And there are some unusual ones, and nice video of my okay, here we go. So I don't know, maybe you don't know, but I am an alumnus of Georgetown University, and I will say this: before they became a basketball juggernaut in the 80s, and have since returned to normal and really better program than For many years, Georgetown is really a relatively small school. The undergraduate school's still under 10,000. Anyway, there was a time there in the mid '80s, early to mid '80s, when Georgetown played in three Final Fours and won one of them. Lost two final games in '82 and '85. Won an astonishing upset to a team they had already beaten twice in the regular season. Villanova University, and then of course in '82 they lost to Michael Jordan's University of North Carolina Tar Heels. And they did beat in '84 the Phi Slamma Jamma Houston, University of Houston, with Hakeem Olajuwon in a really not, the game really wasn't all that close. I think the final score was something like, I don't know, 9 points, something like that. So anyway, these are cards which I can't tell you even when they came out, but they came out probably, I'm guessing maybe 30 to 40 years ago, somewhere in that area. And I'm debating on whether or not to open one of these packs to see what's in them. But I did acquire these 2 packs of cards, and for less than $3 for both of them. This was a free gift that I got from buying a few cards. It's a 1990 Score Series 1 football, and comes from a well-known purveyor of sports cards, Larry Fritsch Cards. And so I just thought I'd mention that. This will go in my unopened pack collection, which is larger than I wish it was, but there you have it. The next card I'm going to show you is a modern card, and I'm not really even sure if this is even what it says it is. It says that it is a card by the Banty Red Tobacco and Ale Company, but it depicts Tommy Henrich, who last swung a bat in anger probably around 1951 or 52, somewhere along in there. And I like Tommy Henrich. I like the stories about him. He's from Massillon, Ohio. Later was famous, obviously, for Paul Brown of the Cleveland Browns. But Tommy Henrich, a cornerstone of the Yankee dynasty between Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle. He along with Charlie Keller and Joe DiMaggio formed the nucleus of the team that won 4 consecutive World Series championships from 1936 to 39, and which only one other team has surpassed that, and no other team has tied it. And the team that surpassed it, of course, was the 1949 to 53 Yankees, who won 5 in a row. Pretty awesome undertaking. So this is Tommy Henrich. I just bought this card because I just like the idea of it. Here's what the back looks like, and it does invite you to mail in the tab, and if you send in 20, you can receive a home team big league pennant of your choice. About all I can say is that it's not a vintage card. Clearly, it's at best a reprint, and maybe it's just a a new card. I haven't been able to find out much about it, although I haven't really looked all that hard. But I think it's kind of a fun thing. It does have the address contains a zip code, so you know it can't be any earlier than about 1963 or 64, something like that, when zip codes became a thing and we did away with postal zones. And I'm old enough to remember when that happened, sadly. The next card I have, I do collect some of these, and this one obviously commemorates a World Series, which I watched with great enthusiasm as a 9-year-old in 1962. So this is from the 1971 Laughlin Fleer World Series set. And this is from the 1962 series won by the Yankees against the Giants in 7 games. Now, the next card I have to show is one that I am very happy to add to my collection. This is from the 1967 Topps Venezuela card issue. And they included some players like Lloyd Wainer who were retired. And I don't know this of my own knowledge, but I'm guessing that's what the word retirado means. Those of you who do speak Spanish, feel free to jump in and confirm or deny my guess. I do not speak Spanish, sadly. Here's the back of the card, which is pretty plain. It doesn't have a back like the 67 Topps cards, but it is in Spanish, which I think is very cool. And card number 167 from that set. Very happy to have that. Most of you know that I am working on my 1952 Topps set, and I have several cards that I can show you that I've acquired here in the last little bit. And they are in a particular order. These are card numbers 176, 77, 78, and 79. And that extends my streak of consecutive cards from the top set to 179. And I bid on a card number 180, Charlie Maxwell, but I didn't win so I'm going to have to wait another day to get to 180. So that's my progress on the 1952 Topps set. I just watched Chris from Missouri and Mike Baseball Card Collector doing their Warren Spahn Showdown. Card Showdown, which was won by Chris, snapping a 4-game winning streak by Baseball Collector. And the subject matter was this guy, Warren Spahn. Now, they did not show this card. They may, either one or both of them may have it, but they don't. This is from the 1951 Burke Ross collection. It is not the same pose as either the 1950 Bowman or the 1951 Bowman, which do share the same pose, same picture, and the same photographer, apparently. Burke Ross is actually the name of the photographer, and he issued cards which are often out of register. I don't know, the printing process doesn't look like it was all that good. And the cars often suffer from, sort of a drabness that the Bowman cards do not have. So I like Warren Spahn a lot. My Uncle Bill was a big fan of Warren Spahn, one of his favorite pitchers, along with Robin Roberts. Warren's obviously a Hall of Famer. He is the winningest left-handed pitcher in history, the fifth all-time leading winner with 366 wins, and the winningest post-World War II pitcher. I put him in the post-World War II era because obviously the majority of his career was played after the end of the war. And he's got some pretty good quotes, pretty funny ones. When Casey Stengel was fired after the end of the 1960 season, which the Yankees lost the World Series to the Pirates in what was otherwise pretty lopsided series, but somehow or another the Pirates managed to win 4 close games and suffered 3 blowout games. Anyway, he came from Boston. Casey Stengel did manage the Boston Braves. And he commented, he said, I guess I knew Casey before he became a genius, and now that he's, not no longer managing the Yankees, I guess I'm one of the guys that knows him after he stopped being a genius. So I thought that was a pretty great comment. So that's Warren Spahn and the Burke Ross cards. I don't have a 1951 Mickey Mantle Burke Ross card, but I would love to have one, and maybe someday I'll get that card. Meantime, I do have a 1950 Burke Ross Allie Reynolds. Allie Reynolds, as most of you may know, was part of the giant pitching staff, but part of the Yankee pitching staff that won those 5 consecutive World Series, and he was a big reason for that. In 1951, Allie Reynolds pitched 2 no-hitters in that season. And I only recently learned that the Yankees would intentionally not give their great pitchers enough starts to win 20 games because they wanted to keep the payroll down. They figured that, I guess that they'd have to pay their pitchers more if they won 20 games in a season. And so Whitey Ford most seasons did not win 20 games. Allie Reynolds did not win 20 games. Vic Raschi did not win 20 games very often. Ed Lopat did not win 20 games very often. So, in the 60s, Whitey Ford did win 25 games in 1961. He was 25-4, and I think that is, for a starting pitcher, is the still the best won-loss percentage for a 20-game winner. I think the record is held by Elroy Face, if you can believe that, who was 18-1 in 1959, primarily as a relief pitcher. So here's this is the Burke Ross Allie Reynolds from 1951. The next card is another card that I'm very happy to get, this is also a Tommy Henrich card, and it is from the 1950 Drake's Cookies set. So I know John Mangini doesn't like the term oddball cards, but his brother Rick Vintage Oddball Cards apparently liked it well enough to name his channel after them. And I consider this to be kind of an oddball card. It's an interesting set. Drake's had another set of cards in the late '80s, and nothing in between. Apparently, I don't know. Here's the back side of it, and it tells about Drake's oatmeal or jumble cookies, and invites you to save them, trade them for a limited time only. TV baseball star pictures. It talks about Tommy Henrich's career and just what a great player he was. And I did buy his book. I think it's right here. I think somewhere. Anyway, regardless, a pretty neat set. Just a black and white card. And of course, in 1950, if you had a TV, and most people didn't, it was probably a black and white TV. I'm sure it was. Color TV didn't become a thing until several years later, and as depicted in the 1955 Bowman set. So that's the Drake's Cookies set from 1950. And many of you also know that I'm working on a collection of the 1940 play ball cards, and I have added 4 cards to my collection. I'm going to take this one out of the baggie because I think you'll be able to see it better without the baggie. So you notice that it does indicate on the card 1939 pennant winners. The Yankees were, we mentioned before, won the World Series that year. The number 1 card in this set is Joe DiMaggio. And just luck of the way the cards were numbered, these are all 4 Yankees. And again, they are in a particular order, starting with, they're not in a particular order. I think they are now. Shuffle them around a little bit. So this is card number 5, 7, 8, and 9. Got to have them in the wrong order, but I'll put them in that order. And as mentioned, Charlie Keller being part of that wonderful outfield trio anchored by Joe DiMaggio in center field. Charlie Keller played left field, and Tommy Henrich played right field, I believe. The catcher, one of the catchers is Bill Dickey. Card number 7 in the set, and that's a Hall of Famer Bill Dickey. Card number 5 is Monty Pearson, who was a pitcher for the Yankees. And card number 8 is George Twinkle Toes Selkirk. And I don't know how he got the nickname Twinkle Toes, but there it is. This, I don't know that they strictly speaking adhered to this, but on the back of play ball cards were issued by Gum Inc., which, was started by Bowman. The band's name who started it is Bowman. And but it says here that a pictorial news record of America's favorite sport, and it does say that there are new pictures every year. Well, we know for a fact that they're not new pictures every year. The very next year, probably half of the cards in the set are cards that were from this 1940 set. So the 1941 set had color added to the cards, but still used many of the same old photographs. So this gives me 9 of the first 10 cards, and of course you will not be surprised to learn that the one that I don't have out of the first 10 is Joe DiMaggio. So we're working on it. I don't have either the DiMaggio or the Ted Williams. The next card I have to show you is another card that I'm very excited to see. Many of you know that I am working on a 1964 stand-up set, and I want you to pay close attention to this card. It's a card of 1934-36 batter-up card of Lingle Mungo, who was a pitcher for the Brooklyn Dodgers. And you can't really tell by looking at it here, but or even looking at the back. But this card, this issue, very much in the same vein as the 64 top stand-ups, was meant to be folded in half, and the image of the player stick out above the the midline of the horizontal midline of the card, and then you could enjoy the card by looking at him standing up, as opposed to laying flat like this one is laying. So this is card number 131 from the 1934 batter-up set, and it is a card of the aforementioned Lingle Mungo, who has got to have the all-time greatest baseball name. I can only think of one other sports figure with a name that competes with Lingle Mungo, and that was a basketball player for Memphis State University back in the early 80s, whose name was Baskerville Holmes, and I think that's a great name. I wish I had a name that was cool like that. And here's another picture from the 1936 Wheaties set, also of Lingle Mungo, and I guess he was quite a character back in his days. But I was thinking about him, telling my wife about him, and I inspired myself to get 2 Lingle Mungo cards, and I hope you enjoyed looking at them. Now, that's all I have for you today. So this is, without any further ado, this is Rocketrickj18, wishing and hoping that all your collecting dreams come true.